Hello, I'm Lisa O'Donoghue and I'm CEO of Votechnik. And Votechnik is a company specialising in an automated technology for LCD recycling. To give you the context of why we look at this, there is European legislation which makes LCD recycling mandatory at the end of life. It's called the WEEE Directive, you're probably very familiar with it. It specifically stipulates that two components must be removed from LCDs. It's the CFL tubes, which contain mercury, and also the front panel, which contains the liquid crystal content. To date, the technologies that are widely available to recyclers would be a standard manual disassembly process or a shredding process. Shredding, again, with the components involved, they would ideally come out before a shred process for legislation compliance. And then when we look at manual disassembly, where we've seen a lot of focus, the real crux of this is it's time consuming. An average worker will separate approximately 3 to 4 LCDs per hour. When we look at why is that so slow, if you take the back cover off a number of different LCDs, what you'll actually see is that the structure completely changes for different makes and models. And this makes it quite a complex structure to disassemble, and it's very hard to get efficiencies on it. How big is this problem? So if we actually look at global sales for LCDs, these are particularly CCFL backlit LCDs. You can see 2010 they peaked at 150 million units in that year. And we have this large volume of LCDs yet to actually hit the disposal market, enter the recycling facilities and be dealt with in large volume. We still see a lot of predominantly CRT recycling going on at the minute. So the volume that is coming into the recycling facilities are actually traditionally being stock filled until a viable, cost-effective solution comes to actually recycle LCDs. We focused on such a solution and we call it the true Master ALR, and it's a technology that's designed to infeed LCDs at the start of the unit, specifically have those two components removed during the process and the LCD exits at the end. So the LCD exits intact, just with those hazardous containment or those hazardous components removed. So it's a very novel solution in the fact that we don't disassemble the entire LCD. The LCD after this process goes into a standard operating facility for which it is shredded and sorted as normal. So it's a very complementary technology to actually process LCDs and stop segregating them as a separate waste stream. Also, it's designed with a fully built-in carbon filtration system. An LCD enters one end, there's no manual interaction, and it's safe to be around the unit. Well, what is so unique about this? And it's really those two words, and the fact that you get them together. You get compliance and economics. So you have a system that's completely designed for the WEEE Directive to meet the stipulated requirements, but also for the first time, a high throughput process. So one of the huge advantages to the technology is that you process 80 LCDs per hour. So when you compare it to the manual process with 3 to 4, you can see you get very large efficiencies, and it actually allows a recycler to process and make a large profit from LCD recycling. From an environmental point of view, the benefits are high throughput of processing, over 166,000 LCDs. You also prevent the release of over 800 grams of mercury, 300 grams of liquid crystals for a full year's operation of the machine. Technology status. We actually licensed the technology after it had been lab scaled. We went into beta testing with the technology, and we're just about to launch the actual pilot of the technology. This is our beta testing machine that was in the middle of manufacture. This unit processes approximately 45 to 50 LCDs per hour, with the final pilot processing 80 LCDs per hour. Right now we have a sales contract and pre-orders in. We have one on the table for Ireland, and we also have just been awarded an EC pilot action to build a second machine for Denmark in 2015. So it comes under what we call the Eco-Innovation Programme for the EC. It's a 1.6 million pilot build. It kicks off in April of this year, and it's 50% funded by the EC and the other 50% is private investment. The partners we have on it are Danwe, a Danish recycler. We have the WeForm, a pan-European or pan-European compliance scheme that's headquartered in Brussels. And we also have technology partners, University of Limerick. To give you a little context of Eco-Innovation Initiative and the co-funding of the pilot, it's there to actually conduct the activities of the Eco-Innovation Action Plan for Europe. It's led by the Executive Agency for Competitiveness and Innovation on behalf of the EC to meet both economic economic growth boosts for SME industry as well as the environmental goals. Standard structure is our work package structure. It's a 2-year project, so it's actually an innovation action as opposed to an R&D program. So it's initially to launch the machine within the first 8 months of the actual pilot, and then the second is on the exploitation and basically the sales targets for 2016. Here you see the market entry strategy. So we kick off in 2015 with Denmark and Ireland. We progress through Europe and also have a later focus for markets such as Japan, Korea, USA and Australia. We're currently engaging interested parties from Japan, US and Canada at present. We've also put in here, which are our years, units sold and revenue generated, but just from B2B sales of the technology. And what we haven't actually included here is the maintenance and spares packages that will go, particularly a pay-per-click package we're developing. So rather than an upfront sale of the technology, where we actually put the technology in at our own cost, we maintain it, and then we charge per unit processed through it. We also have upgrade generations we process particularly now with this machine what we call CCFL backlights, but we have future technology developments focused on LED OLED monitors. So at this point, to give the background in terms of the financial requirement, we're seeking to raise €3 million, predominantly to cash flow the fund for the first 2 bills in 2015, fund the resources and the staffing in the company, and also the sales operations for the 2016 targets. In terms of the team that are there, we have our main categories are engineering, sales and commercial. We have John Lyons, Leeds, Donncha Hughes and Alan Carey. They're very experienced, have previously been involved with successful startup companies and have worked for large multinationals, and all are actually experienced with both launching technologies in European and Asian markets. Committees and boards with our company. For the Revolve pilot program, we have a steering board which has the CEO of Danwee. It has the head of the technology, design and manufacturing technology from the university, and the CEO of WeForm. We also have an advisory board where we have Dell, the European Recycling Association, the European Recycling Platform, UK Recycler, Veridor, Compliance European Environmental Protection Agency in Ireland. Votechnik and Corns are resellers based in France and Japan, and we also have French and Irish recyclers. So my last slide is just to give a context of the actual strategic industrial partnerships that we work on. So we're also involved, if you're familiar with the Innovation Union initiative, in the European Innovation Partnerships. We are a delivery partner and a core partner for both the WE 2020 raw materials commitments, Bravo, and we're a task partner for the newly established raw materials KIC. We're also an Enterprise Ireland client and an ambassador company for Intertrade Ireland. So thank you.
Great. Well, Liz, thanks very much.